So my last topic for today is all about focus. One of the things that you see quite a lot, and actually there's nothing wrong with at the start of your career, and I did it, try different things, find out what you enjoy, find out what works and find out what doesn't work. But at a certain point, I'm going to throw out a statement, maybe towards the end of your 20s, start of your 30s. That's why, it depends on what your goals are, really try and focus in on what really kind of both makes you happy, gets you excited, but also pays your kind of bills. But what I wanted to talk about, and this was inspired by a recent kind of podcast guest, is the need for focus, but I want to explain why it's important. So for instance, if you have 4 interests or hobbies and you work 40 hours per week, essentially what you're then doing is putting 10 hours per week towards each of your 4 interests. So it's 1, 2, 3, and they're 10 each. So say if you want to launch a cupcake business, you want to be a professional singer, you also want to stream games online and something else. If you explore lots of different interests and you work, say, 40 hours a week, in essence, you can only really put 10 hours into each of those 4 things because that's where you're spending it. What I really kind of recommend, if you find something you genuinely love and enjoy doing, is actually, if you can, focus on one thing. Say if you do the same 40 hours, but what you then have, you're actually putting all your focus into one thing or maybe 2 things, you actually have 4 times the advantage versus everyone else who really kind of spreads themselves thin. And this is really interesting because actually if you compete in business, which you will, so you have one cupcake shop where they're open 10 hours a week, they do 10 hours worth of promotion and that kind of thing. And they've got one next door that is open 40 hours a week, does a lot more promotion, does 4 times of everything. Which one is going to be more successful? It's that kind of thing. But what's also interesting is if you have one thing, but actually you work, say, 60 hours a week, what you then have is a 6 times advantage versus everyone else that kind of plays a little bit, where they have a little bit of a side hustle or a little bit of a whatever. And actually it's based on this that with the roadmap, this is my passion, this is my hobby. I love it. I love working with people. And I probably put in at least 60 hours per week to really help drive this forward. In terms of a business course and that kind of thing, what that does, it gives me an advantage because actually the more people have their time split or across different things, I'm inherently, and we're not talking like twice as good or 40% as good, I have a 6 times advantage over most people. And the truth is, I think 90% of the population kind of work and this, if they're happy to, that's fine, work kind of 37, 40 hours a week, just do their stuff, go home, and they might have a little dream to maybe start a little business on the side, but they don't really commit to it. And the issue is, if you're something that you want to start a little side hustle, which I still recommend, by the way, I think it's definitely do it, but know that there will be people, there's probably going to be people that actually commit fully to it, and there'll be people that work much longer. But when you have, or your competitors have a great advantage when you compete head to head, for me, that's the reason to really kind of find focus if you can. It is mega important to really find something that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, that you would talk about all day, every day, and ideally has some sort of like a bigger mission behind it that really kind of, you want to follow for the rest of your life. But actually, if you can, try it and almost focus on one thing, and I guarantee you'll be a lot more successful at that than if you kind of spread yourself too thin.